Good day, good afternoon. Sorry I was a little bit late getting in here. I was having a little bit of trouble connecting to the internet, but I am here now. And let's see, we've got Steve, we've got Paul, we've got Aunt, Mark, Mickey, Dan, Richard. A lot of people saw the email, I suppose, and are ready for my return. And here I am. This first roll that we're going to be doing is a 1953 Philadelphia roll. 53 Philadelphia is not very highly known for having a bunch of stuff, which is part of the reason why I decided that I wanted to take care of this one, because, well, we've been finding some stuff that wasn't supposed to exist lately, and we might just find something here. Hello, Paula. And so what I want to do is I want to take a good look through each coin in here and see what we can find. Oops. Oopsie, oopsie. You know what? This is not going to be the roll for us. Got a bunch of brown coins in here. Hang on, let me go grab a different roll. A different 53 Philly roll. Hang on just a moment. Better. Got a different roll. This one looks like it's all red. So, you dig in here and see what we have. Looks like we have a good roll. Count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50. We got a full roll. So we are in business. And so, coin number 1. Here we go. Taco John, coin number 1. And this is coin number 1. Now, what I'm looking for here specifically is going to be doubling in and around the date, doubling in Liberty, doubling on the eyelid. That's the one I'm really after, is trying to find eyelid doubling on these, because, you know, we've been finding some other stuff of late. Now this right here, on the outside edge of the 3 out here, you can see this, what appears to be doubling. That out there is called a braided die doubling. It's the same thing that happened to the 1955 Lincoln cents that we call the poor man's double die, which are not double dies at all. These coins are actually the result of extra wear on the die from overuse. And often you can see this same effect if you look in other areas of the design. It's not just on that 3. You can see that there's a lot of die wear going on up here toward the top of the design. So that is a nothing coin on the obverse. I'll go check the reverse real quick. This might be just a little bit too bright for these red coins. I think the last thing I was doing was looking at brown coins. Let me turn this down just a little bit. There. That'll be better for us seeing the detail that we're looking for. I checked the obverse and the reverse of the first 10 coins out of the roll. Well, the first thing I want to tell you is that my hiatus away from doing this was not really considered a vacation. Well, I would like a vacation once in a while. We will be going on vacation here in another few weeks, but my absence from the screen has mostly been about my ability to actually do this. That might sound strange, but it's the truth. I've been very unable to face the idea of being on camera for quite a while. And I am finally back to a point where this is workable for me. And so here I am. You can see this one's obviously an earlier die state, not because it's missing the doubling on the outside of the 3, but it's also just a much sharper looking coin. All the detail is much sharper looking. So let's take a look at the reverse on this one. Very common very, very common is this right here. This is why high-grade 1953 and 54 Philadelphia Lincoln cents are so hard to come by. This is part of the planchet wash. Had some sort of a soap that did not rinse off of the coins, off the planchets. And those stains were basically placed there, not the actual stains, but the contaminant that caused the stains were placed onto the coins prior to them even being minted. This happened when they were just planchets, just little babies. And finding that on 1953 and 54 Philadelphia Lincoln cents is extremely, extremely common. And they will not get a very high grade when you have that on the coin. This one's for Carl. And just checking everything real closely just to make sure I'm not going to miss something. Hey, Malcolm. I really appreciate you folks showing up when I decide that I'm well enough to do a broadcast. It's not been a very common thing of late, but here we are, right? This one looks like it could have doubling on the bottom of the design down here. Be a little bit of a class 6 lift. Not 100%. But I will be sure. Hang out on this one and see what we get. I'll turn this one into Eric as a possible double die reverse. Let him take a look at it and see what he thinks. Alright, here's number 4, Jackalope Herdmaster. I tried to make sure I sent everyone an email today to let them know that I was going to start doing these reveals so that nobody would miss out. I don't want people missing out because they don't get notified. It's got a little die scratch between the bottom of the 9 and the bottom of the 5 in the date. A really good marker. For what, I'm not sure. We're going to find out if there's anything there. That's a huge marker right there, but markers don't do you much good if there's nothing that they're telling you a story about. They're just blabbing. I saw the Sunday show by Frosty where he mentioned something that was extremely important. When you're doing die varieties and you're looking for die varieties in your change or in your rolls of coins, finding a marker doesn't do anything. You're not looking for markers. What you're looking for are actually the doubling itself first, right? So we're looking for something that doesn't look normal first. It's only after that we actually start looking at the listings and the markers listed for the different listings and the different sources. And then we're going to try to match our coin to markers that we see already listed. The attributes first, being that it be a double die obverse, double die reverse. Is it an I? Is it north, south, east, west? What does it look like? And then once you find something you think is a match, that's when we start working on markers. Very, very important. Shazib Khan, we're not selling anything in here. My channel, my rules. You're welcome to watch, but we're not talking about eBay. Here's one for Carl. Let's see what Carl gets. He got the one that appeared that it could possibly have some doubling on the lower reverse. There's another one of those poor man's double coins. This one's also got planchet wash issues, which is very highly normal for 1953, 1954, mostly the Philadelphia issues. The B in Liberty, that's die chips. Little tiny die breaks, little cracks. There's a little break inside the bottom of the B. There's what looks like the beginning of a crack on the E and a little die chip maybe on the R. Very common. When they perform such that they create what looks like an I between two of the letters in Liberty, they become what we call bi errors. And I would contest the idea that they're actually errors, but it's when the die gets older and starts to bust apart. That's one of the first parts that's going to bust. And when the die busts, cracks, or breaks right there, then those become evident. Some people collect them because they have been listed at one point in time. Many people do not collect them. It's kind of a thing of, what do you want to do? I say, we've seen that marker before. So that tells us that we have seen this marker, this die before. That's another thing you can use markers for. Remembering which dies you've seen and which ones you have not. We did note this one as not being anything special last time we looked at it. However, check out what we do have. This right here is a wheat stem. That's a stem clash from the reverse. And here's part of the O of the word of in Of America. Really nice looking clash. This is not highly common. They're not worth a ton, but they're just interesting. I don't see anything on this side of it. I did notice a head clash on the last one I looked at on the reverse. I'll show you that when we get there. But this one's same markers as before, so it's going to have the same features as before, which means this one's not a double die. We definitely won't have any RPMs in this roll because RPMs are for mint marks only, and these coins don't have mint marks, or they're not supposed to. Just a normal coin on the reverse. Going to be having an auction tomorrow night. Tomorrow's a pretty nice looking auction. You can check out the list at coppercoins.com/auction. Got that I've got that pull show coming up too. I forgot about it one day, and then the next day I couldn't do it, and I'm not going to be able to do it tonight because I've got more of these catch-up reveals to do. I've decided that now that I'm well enough to do reveals, I'm going to start selling reveals again. Well, this one's gotten a little color added to it. That's just time and storage. That's actually a lamb peel there. It's got all that roughness. That was on the planchet prior to the strike. One way that you can tell that something was on the planchet prior to the strike is that if it's something from after the strike, the raised letters will make it bend. It will make it change. It will make it skip the little crevices. If it was on there before the strike, I'm trying to find a really good example of it so I can show you. If it was there before the strike, it's going to ride right through any raises, letters, indents, or anything else, and you will not be able to discern it as having happened prior or after the coin was struck. If you look real closely, right here at this F in Of, get it moved over a little bit more so you can see it better. There we go. Bring a little more light into the subject. This little spot right here, where you've got this dark spot that just continues right over the letter, right over the letter, right up here. And this goes right over the letter, and this little line right here. The letters, the shapes of the letters don't make any difference at all to what's going on here. That's because this was done to the planchet before the letters were even on it. So it was there before the coin was struck. Now, if we look at something else that was actually a post, let's see, something. Okay, here's something that's post die make. These are scratches that were placed onto the die before the coin was struck, and it goes right underneath the letters. If this was a scratch on the coin, it would definitely be visible on the tops of the letters, like this right up here on the E. See this little scuff mark right here? This little scuff mark is affected by the shape of the letter, which means it was put on there after the letter was struck. So by thinking through, could this have been done prior to the letter being there, or was it definitely done after the letter was there, can tell you whether or not something was done prior or after the strike. But for sure, just telling you as a fact, all this was on there before the coin was struck. Just kind of interesting. Eric's going to take the day off from doing reveals today. I talked to him a little bit earlier, and I said, I got all these catch-ups to do, and I think I'm ready to do it. And he said, please do. I don't want to do anything today. Eric is not feeling well for being on his knees as many hours as he has been. I keep telling him he's got to quit getting on his knees so much. That's got a big, long die crack running right through the vest. A few of them, actually. No double die lid. Although my little hand cursor was picking his boogers. Let me move it out of the way. Don't need a hand cursor up Lincoln's nose. Nothing there, so let's check the reverse side. Bunch of die scratches, and that's about it other than planchet wash. That's another thing. This planchet wash. If you look at the stripes and the way the stripes are placed onto the coin, you'll notice that this had nothing to do with the shapes of the letters. It looks like it just runs right through like they're not even there. Well, that is because this was on there before the coin was struck. All right. Yeah, a lamb peel's kind of like what splits look like, because splits are actually lamination in themselves. I have a split before struck 1957 around here somewhere. I'll bring out sometime. We could take a look at it. It's very dramatic. It's very underweight and very dramatic. You can only see parts of the design where the dies actually did manage to come together. But in a lot of places, the dies didn't manage to come together, and the coin only weighed like 1.9 grams or something like that. Well, I see nothing here. I've only pulled one coin out so far for a possible double die reverse. We'll have to compare it. There's another one of them right there, but that could be die deterioration. In fact, it does look like die deterioration now that I see another example of it. You see that secondary line running on the outside of the wheat stem? It's not machine doubling. Oh, it could be machine doubling. It is machine doubling. Never mind. This is machine doubling. You can tell because you can see it in the grains up here too. All these grains right here have that little tiny bit of doubling, as well as the outside edge of the stem. Definitely machine doubling on that. A little die chip. Looks like a race car. Looks like an old-fashioned, like a George Jetson type space car. There's your wheels, and then your little bubble that you sit inside of, and it's smoking as it moves along. Okay, so I'm a little bit weird. I never said I was normal. Of course, I've never said a damn thing about me was normal. I'm probably one of the nerdiest of nerds you know. Here's number 11. This one goes out to Frosty. Wonder if Frosty's even here. Is Frosty here? Frosty might be busy. Frosty's got himself quite a channel thing going on there. Won over 2,000 subscribers. That's pretty big. Yeah, well, that is a good point. What is normal? I don't think any of us are. There's no such thing. Normal is what you are. For you. It's one thing I've learned. You're the world's leading expert at being you. Don't change that. That's where I say you do you. That's exactly what I mean. Don't pretend. Don't try to fool anybody. Just be you. The worst 5 minutes of your life. I can gather that. I can sympathize, empathize. Dude, I've been there with you. Here's another one of those. Some people call these kind of interesting. They are. They're mildly interesting. They're not worth anything extra. but I would call them kind of cute. If I had to attach some sort of phrase to it to explain what they are, I think they're kind of interesting. But, after you've seen, oh God, tens of thousands of them, they kind of tend to wear off as being something nice and new. I remember when I found some when I was a kid, I thought I was rich. That's because of the false advertising. You would see out there people selling them for $5 or $10 a piece as something different, something odd, and then you start, then you start adulting, and you see rolls and rolls and rolls of these things, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, they might not be quite so scarce. That's what I always tell somebody. There ain't anything rare in this. If it was rare, I wouldn't have it. I don't have anything rare. As any time you come into a collection of something or another, and you look it up in a catalog, and it's like, like paper currency. There's a list of 10 or 15 different types you're looking at to see which one you have. Look for the one that's the least valuable first, because that's probably the one you have. You know what, Roger, to tell you the truth, I don't know the name of his channel, but it's, if you put in Frostbite, Frostbyte, like bites on a computer, if you put in Frostbite, YouTube will probably bring it up for you. Some people here, like Paula, may actually know how to get a link to it and post a link up. If it'll let you post links, I'm not sure. But since pretty much everybody here is a moderator, you should be able to post links. If you want to find the link to Frosty's channel and put it up in here, I'd appreciate that. He's not in here, or I would just be able to tell you to click the 3 dots next to his name and you're done. But because he's not in here, we can't just do that. There's my race car again. My race car is developing into something larger. You see that? That's kind of cool, isn't it? All within a single roll. Now, it's not just a race car. It's a race car with a beam out in front of it, like headlights, and then a smoky trail behind him. There we go. Steve got it. Frostbite coins. I knew it was something like that, but I didn't want to say it wrong. Didn't want to type it in wrong. Because I tell you what, computers are real persnickety about spelling. They don't like it when you don't spell the way they want you to. Let's see. Well, there's another one of those. Maybe this will be another race car coin. We can call these the race car coins. But I do want to show you something first. You see how this little thing here kind of just comes up and stops at the nose? Probably because it's a scratch that was placed on the coin after the coin was struck. Do you see how this little guy comes across here, and then he skips and comes back, and he skips and he comes back? That tells you that was done after the design was placed into the coin. You gonna make crop circles in the wheat? That's my race car. I think it's kind of awesome. It has absolutely no value, but it's really cool. Those of you who are getting these might want to put them in your book as your race car coin. Not because the guides say so, not because anybody said it was valuable, not because you saw one on eBay for $1,000, but because Chuck said so and Chuck knows. 2017 D. I have never seen anything on 2017 D that I'm familiar with as a repetitive error. Something like a die chip or a die crack, or like the exploding die on the 2021. I don't know of anything like that on 17D. 17 Philadelphia has a couple of double dies that I'm familiar with. The marketing opportunities. There you go. Let's do marketing opportunities. There's another one of those clashes that shows the left stem of the wheat. You have to remember that when you are looking at the design on a United States coin, the design on the other side of the coin is upside down, because that's why we have what we call it coin turn, when you have to flip the coin up to see the other side properly. not turn it around. If you turn it around to see the other side properly, that would be metal alignment. Metal alignment is what we used to call the British Empire, United Kingdom, and all of its subsidiaries, including Canada and Australia. Have an alternative cherry picker's guide. Well, Scott, if you can put it under a microscope and get an image of it, email it to me, cd@coppercoins.com. I'll try to help you out with it if I can. See if I can see what you see, and I can figure out a reason for it. And if I can't, I've got dozens of friends, some of them right here, who might be able to help. That's probably the best part about being a broadcaster on this, is that you pick up a whole lot of knowledge from people who come to you. It's actually really cool. Fun and cool. Exciting nonetheless. Here we go. I'm going to stop. I'm going to drop the reverses on this. We're almost halfway through the roll, and I've not found anything substantial on the reverse of any of these coins. I'd like to be able to move on to our next roll sooner than later, and it's going to be a 1955 Philadelphia roll we're going to be doing before the reveal show this evening. And I might even try to fit another reveal in tonight after the reveal show, but I probably won't be able to. Hey, Brian, I'm doing very well. Got new medication. One of the new medications I'm taking now is called bupropion, and a lot of you might know it by its brand name, Wellbutrin. I know I tried some of it. Oh God, it must have been about 20 years ago to try to quit smoking, and it didn't do anything. But back then I wasn't taking it for depression, and now, oh my God, it's changed a lot of things in the last month. There's another one of those with a little bit of a shadow on the outside of the 3. So you've got your poor man's doubles. Kind of interesting, kind of. Then you've got the race car coins. Bunch of die cracks, bunch of later die state, die cracks, die chips, other things like that on these. We're finding the same dies over and over again. I'm trying to find one coin that matches the race car again. That's just got cracks everywhere. Would you look at that? Man, this thing looks like it's about to fall apart. What does the right look? Oh my gosh, look at that. Huge interior die break. Clean up on aisle 7. Seriously, man, that's nice. You even got die cracks running all the way up to S. A little die chip on the E. A little die chip right here on the A. That's amazing. That's a busted up die right there. That there I'd say is about to fall apart now. That's kind of neat. Now that's going to be on the reverse of the coins that have this marker. It's got that big curled die crack with a little die dot right there with a crack running kind of curled up from the eyelid. So we can tell for sure that we've got this die again. Got a deep scratch, die scratch running down the coat, I believe. Oh, well, I mean, we've got this marker kind of takes over for everything else. So this thing is a it's a total bust on both sides. But I don't, right? Oh, that's a listed interior die break, IDB. I have never looked at the listings for those. I must confess. This is the same as another one that we've been looking at. I want to see if this is the race car die, though. The race car reverse. So we can look at them when we find them. I don't think this one is, though. This is not the race car reverse. IDB06. So we have a listed interior die break that we're pulling out of 1953 Philadelphia here. Thank you, Paula. We have Frosty. Frosty Frosty. And this one is not one of the dies that I've been looking at recently to see if I can figure out which one fits with that reverse. So let's take a look at the reverse on this one. What kind of marker are we going to find on here to be able to use? Basically just the shadow doubling on the 3 so far. Haven't found anything useful. Late die state, but that doesn't help. 2/3 of them are. Got a little tail on the E. And a little break, this is some sort of a pimple on the die right here. And then we've got this little tail on the E, which is a die crack. Let's check and see if this is it. Nope. No race car. And we keep going. I answered you right before the question. Yeah. Maybe that's why people don't ask me questions as often. It's not because I'm an undesirable person to ask questions to, but I blab so much I end up answering your question before you have a chance to answer it or ask it. Let's see. What do we have here? That's kind of interesting. Is this the one with the clash? No. It's not the clash. It's the one with the little tail. That's the same die we just pulled out for another time around. This one should have a little bit of the shadow. Yep, it does. And it is not going to be the race car die. It is not. $23. Ah, he answered right before. Oh, that isn't me that answered. It was Paula that answered right before the question. I get it. I see. I'm doing my best to pay attention to the coins, and that's not easy. This one is one I don't remember the obverse on recently. Is this the one with the curved die crack on the head? Let's check and see. Well, there's no race car on this one, and the crack is quite heavy, so nope, not the one. That goes to Tyler. Oh, I'm just now getting halfway through the roll, and I've got another reveal scheduled. We may have to postpone just a little bit, or just sit and chit-chat while I go through the flips, because I still have to do the flips for these, for the second show anyway. Nice clean obverse. And when I say clean obverse, I don't mean clean by standards of the coin. I mean clean by standards of the die. I look at dies when I look at coins. I don't necessarily look at coins unless I'm trying to grade them, and I know none of these are going to be gradable value level. I have to get a 66 out of this for it to even bring a tiny bit of profit. And a 66 is, that's probably a $50 or $75 coin. Then a 67 in this is nuts. MS67 red in one of these 1953 Philadelphia is going to run well over $1,000. Believe it. Well, hi, sissy. And there's a big fuzzy spot down below the B on this. You see it right here in the field. So I'm going to check to see if this is the race car die. May as well check the reverses first, because that seems to be the one thing that we have found a lot of interest in. Other than the fact that we've got another die floating around here that's a listed interior die break. There's one for Sureg. Let's see what Sureg gets. We're going to check the reverse first. Why not? It's my show. I can make the rules. Do whatever I want. Okay, there's nothing there. What about this side? VDB crack. A wispy crack. Wispy like wheat thins. Nothing there. $50D roll, and you think you found a 67 red in a 50D? That wouldn't be highly uncommon. It's not going to be very valuable as a 67 red. In 1950s, most of your coins that are going to be really valuable as a 67 red are going to be the Philadelphia Mint coins. And it's just because Philadelphia just had such hard quality. finding a really good coin is a little difficult at best, sometimes near impossible. 54 plane. That's one that, well, back in 2010, 2012, when they graded one, and it ended up tarnishing inside the holder, and it was like a $7,000, $8,000 coin. Somebody bought it, and it was made obvious over time and the chemicals in the plastic itself that the coin had been somehow washed or changed or treated before it went into the holder. I think that photo still circulates. Mickey. Kind of excited. Mickey and I are going to possibly be getting together this week for a bit. That's something that hasn't been done around here in quite a while. All year long, either he's been having problems or I've been having problems that prevented us from being able to hang out. There we go. There's my race car. That one's developed a little bit more even, because this little die crack goes all the way up here, and we're developing a trunk on the car, and I guess we're putting some leaves or something underneath the car. But that's the race car die. Now let me look at the obverse and see if I can figure out a good marker to use in determining that it is the race car die. We've got a bunch of east and west die scratches through and below the date with the shadow doubling on the 3. See if there's anything large, huge. Big die scratches under the vest, so we can use that. If you have a 1969S Lincoln Cent that has doubling on both the date and the mint mark, and they are related doubling, you can tell that they were caused by the same cause. You do not have a doubled die. You do not have a valuable coin. You have machine doubling, which is extremely common on 1969S Lincoln Cents. Hundreds of thousands of people have made the mistake. Very, very few people have ever found a 69S double die. So I kind of doubt you have one. And no, it's not worth grading. Generally, if you have to ask if a coin should be graded, it probably should not. Because by the time you know what should and should not be graded, you'll have enough experience to understand that things that should be graded are things that are actually scarce. Hey, Frosty. Oh, we're just having a good old time. We found a die. We found an interior die break that's actually listed. It's severe enough that it was actually listed. But the other thing that we have been having a little fun with, there's a die that has a die break chip crack on the reverse that looks like a race car. And it's like really cool. Yeah, well, why not, right? This is not one of them. No need to flip this one over. For Otis there. Oops. I had made mention, or thought I had made mention at some point or another, that I owed out 8 rolls. I do not owe out 8 rolls. I only owe out 6 at this point. Now 5, because I've done one of them most of the way through. It is now 5:30. And being 5:30 Eastern Time, at present, we're not going to have time to get to the other roll when it's scheduled, because I can't do 2 at the same time. But we will do it shortly following this broadcast. I'll bring that broadcast up, and we can all hang out while I'm working on trying to get things together. Things are running a little bit slow right now because, well, I have to get used to doing this again, you know. This kind of thing isn't something that you just do like you're riding a bicycle. It takes forethought. It takes the ability to look, feel, and speak at the same time, which is a coordinated effort. Oh, we actually may have a real name for my race car reverse. I like race car reverse. Not really so sure I'm digging the idea of, 12837H for stage 9. I prefer race car coin. But knowing that it does have a listing with someone else actually gives it some collectability in the sense that it's interesting. Someone else has noticed that and listed it as such. Doesn't necessarily give it value unless you're here to get one just because Chuck found it and called it a race car coin. This one's nice and shiny, and this one looks like it might be a race car coin. No, this one's not a race car coin. Well, let's flip it over and see. It looks like a race car coin. If that's a race car coin, it's definitely a progression. I don't think it is, though. I think that crack on the right side there goes in, the left side toward the top of the wheat goes in a different direction. I don't think it's one of our race car coins. But that one's for Sissy. She can name it whatever she wants to name it. 36 goes to Tyler. And for Tyler, let's check and see what it is on the reverse first. Might have some luck doing it that way. Nothing here. In fact, it's actually pretty clean reverse. Check the obverse real quick. And I think for now we've got this clash that we're looking for on the obverse. We've got the race car coin, and then we've got that listed interior die break. Those are going to be our 3 feature coins of the roll. None of them are ones that will necessarily be listed on copper coins because they are not die varieties. They would be die chips and die cracks, which I am not even going to dive into that bucket of confusion. Just not going to happen. Because then you start looking for progressions and progressions upon progressions, and die marriages that might be different from the die that you're looking at initially. Yeah, that is machine doubling on the outside of the stalk there. Man, it looks almost like a Class 6 double die reverse, but it's just not matching up. So that coin for Carl, number 3, I think we're going to put it back in the normal stuff. Roger. Nice clean obverse here. And it's got a concentric die ring. I've seen some of those before in here. So this is a repeat die, but let's see if it's an important one. No, sir. Not one of the ones that we have chosen as being important. It does have a struck through on the O of 1. That big round thing is probably a grain of sand or something got struck into the coin, then fell out. Number 39, Richard, Mr. Sappington. Where is that? Yeah, it's Richard Sappington, I'm sure. You got an ender. This one's turned brown on us. At one time, this was probably packed on the end of a tube or on the end of a hand wrap roll, or even a machine wrap roll. And when I got put in this tube, it got jostled around and ended up being the 39th coin in the roll. Here's coin number 40 now. Mr. Macumba, who I do believe is here right now. We got nothing on that side. What about on this side? I've only identified one of those interior die breaks so far. Then we got, probably, I don't know, maybe close to a half a dozen of the race car coins. There's one for Ant. And the people who have joined us since I saw the last one are wondering, what is he talking about? A race car coin? Let me see if I can find that in my cherry picker's guide. No, it's not there. I can guarantee you won't find it listed in a cherry picker's guide. Nice machine doubling. Almost looks important, but nope, just machine doubling. That's a coin that some of us go icky doodah, and then some of the others of us are excited to get them. So all I can tell you is that machine doubling is relatively common. It's not anywhere near scarce like hub doubling is, double dies. If you are enthralled by them, great. Collect them all you want, because this is a free country. However, rest assured that when it comes time to sell your collection, most people are going to look at it and just kind of, They're not going to buy it for a premium. Because, well, generally die cracks, machine doubling, stuff like that, are considered more or less a tolerance issue with the make of the coins to begin with, meaning that they were tolerated, maybe not intended, but they were tolerated. And anything that was tolerated within tolerance of how the mint makes coins was let go by the mint. Not like double dies, repunch mint marks. Those were supposed to be caught upon die inspection. At the point in time when the die was inspected prior to being hung onto the machine to start making coins, this is going to be one of them. This is a race car coin. Vroom. I'll flip it over and see. Oh! It's not. That's not good. Well, I was hoping. But anyhow. Where was I? Oh, yeah. The tolerances. Anything that the mint's going to let go is considered a within tolerance item. And those items have no real numismatic bonus value simply because there's so many of them out there, because the mint just let them slide. Comes to double dies and repunch mint marks, those were supposed to have been inspected at the die level because they are a part of the die before the die is ever hung to mint coins. There's another one of those. That's kind of interesting. Not a race car coin, though. So that is why us die variety people stick to hunting for over mint marks, repunch dates, over dates, repunch mint marks, double dies, obverse, reverse, double dies, triple dies, quadruple dies. They exist. We search for that kind of stuff because, well, none of that stuff is supposed to exist. What are we looking for? R.W. Julian book. Oh, the Jinko handbook. Yeah. I will just skip the second reveal until later this evening. How about that? And I'll show you something after we get done here. I'll bring out my Kohen book and we'll flip through it. You can see what it looks like. So, sorry to the folks about the other reveal. I'll get that scheduled for later on this evening. We'll take care of it after the reveal show, because I do still have some prep to do before the reveal show. And it has taken me nearly an hour to get through a roll. Well, that's probably because I'm looking at the obverse and reverse, and I'm doing a lot of blibber blabbering that doesn't necessarily need to be a part of the show. And yes, I did say blibber blabber. Today just happens to be one of the better days I've had in, probably 3 or 4 months, for no really good reason. It's just a better day. I've had good and I've had bad, and this one happens to be a good. Joja Gem's book, yeah. I remember the whole Joja Gems thing. That was the predecessor to Cherry Picker's Guide. Then they did Cherry Picker News for a while. Then they compiled it into a book once they were told they should. That became their Cherry Picker's Guide. First edition of that, I think, was 1991. Then they had a second, third, and fourth, and then it got sold to Whitman, and Whitman did the fifth. Now they're working on the sixth or seventh editions. I think the seventh now. Coin number 49. Next to the last one in the roll goes to Eric. And Eric gets something that kind of looks weird on the front. I don't have my glasses on. It's just a planchet wash issue. But we're going to check the reverse and see if there's any die breakage going on here. Nope, just pretty heavily spider veined coin here. Planchet wash junk. A rundown of the goodies found? Of course we can do a rundown of the goodies found. Here's Roger. I didn't pull any of them out of the roll, though. So I don't have them handy just to show them. I'd have to go back and look through the roll again to find them. But one of them was a race car coin. Race car coin had a die break running up the left wheat edge that appeared as a race car. At least that's what I picked it out as. Let's see if I can find one real quick here and get this out of the way. I'll start going through some of these coins real quick just to see if I can... Nope, that's the lamination. Found this one, lamination on the reverse. Let me get my focus set up for coin with flip. Alright, there we go. Let's see, what's this? Nope. Nope. These things can be a little difficult to re-find. Nope. Not that one. I don't remember who got the race car coins. I think Jordan got one of them. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find a Jordan coin in here. I know I found it within like the first 10 or 15 coins. Or let's say I thought I did. Well, coin number 2 was a Jordan coin. Is that one? No. 'Tis not. I don't know, man. I don't prep myself for going back through stuff I've... Yeah, that'd be a good idea. We've got what essentially works out to be 50 normal coins here. However, there are some interesting differences. Now, I'm done with the reveal, but what I'm going to do is get my Cohen book out. Now this is the hardbound edition. In fact, I've never seen it any other way. Let me go to a full desk screen here. No, let me just add it in then. Let's go to... No. I don't want to do a display capture. Cancel that. I want to do... Oh yeah, OBS camera. Droid cam. Here we go. And why aren't you working? Come on. Wi-Fi IP is empty. Okay, well, let's do it this way. Let's discard this. Go back to here. And go to here. I'm trying to do this so I don't mess things up. Wow. You guys are asking for a lot here. There we go. I knew I would figure it out eventually. Sometimes it just takes my itty bitty head a little while to get through it. There we go. Okay, so this is the classification and value of errors on the Lincoln Cent. This goes through from the early years. So here's your first listings are 1940, 1944, and they have little pictures where she has taken and drawn what is going on with each of these dies, and they all have listing numbers right there. Dan, I have not. I do apologize, but I have not. I've not been able to completely get everything together yet to put in the box. I don't want to miss anything, and my mind has been too cloudy. And in fact, my mind's been too cloudy to get into much of anything. And this is a large reference. Many, many, many pages of this sort of thing. You've got die cracks, spiked heads. These are all the spiked head listings that she's come up with. This is 1962, 62, there's 62D. The latest in these books are going to be 1966 or 67. Got 67 in here. Oh, there's a 68D, 69D. So 69D. It's pretty much going to be the latest. 69 is going to be the latest issue in these. There's a whole page of 69 listings right here. 69D. It is a pretty neat book. It's a lot of work. I know a lot went into this. So yeah, there's just pretty much every die crack you can find on a Lincoln Cent was listed in here at one point in time or another. Miscellaneous errors in the field. I mean, this one right here has got that bubulous break in the 9. It's probably listed in here as such. I don't see any of these that show. These show stuff in the fields, but not in the date. Here's a bunch of them that show stuff in and around the date area. Parvis says coin number 14 is his. We'll get coin number 14 out. We'll bring it out and we'll take a look at it. See if we can find that race car die. But there it is. Maybe it was Jordan I was remembering because it was Parvis's coin. And Parvis is Jordan's grandfather. Well, but this is the Cohen book. I just want everybody to have a chance to look at it. See what it looks like. Now, let me go back to this and get coin 14 out. This is coin 14 and it does belong to Parvis. And let's see, is it a race car? It is a race car. See, Frosty, see how this looks like a race car? Like a little George Jetson car? and it has little beams of laser beams coming out the front. And there's your front tire, and here's your back of your car, and there's the little bubble where people sit, and then there's the back tire, and then back here is a big trail of car smoke. Yep, this is Parvis's coin here. I think this might have been the first one we found, but it looks like a race car. Space car, race car, whichever. But yeah, so that is that. And I tell you what, we're going to go ahead and skip the next reveal. I'll retime it for after the reveal show. Yeah, Parvis says he'll offer it for $10 million while he's got his pinky in his mouth. $10 million. I said it just exactly how it needed to be said. $10 million. Right? The Jetson coin. But yeah, we can have fun. I mean, why not? It's what we do. All right, folks, I'm going to be back for the reveal show. I'll reschedule this other reveal for after reveal show time, and we'll get it all done tonight. And then I'm going to do 2 reveals tomorrow before the big auction that's going to be coming up tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. But I will definitely talk at you later. I appreciate it. Thanks much, and I'll see you then.